The says it was an accidental death due to seizure, and that's it. But I have all the VA records, right? So Dad was on, he was on full disability, like 100 or 70% disability, which means he got 100% benefits from the VA, for a combat-related injury, right? So they were able to relate. Anyway, it's a whole long thing. So, but then I go back to my paper records. Okay, not only in 2021 when he died, but in 2017, they allowed a man with brain damage. He had the cognitive capacity of a 4 to 6 year old child. Okay, on both occasions, they let him sign the DNR paperwork. They let him admit himself, even though, and I can prove on paperwork, especially in 2017, because they had to fax me all the paperwork, and they had to void them allowing him to admit himself. They had to void all of it to allow me to admit him as his POA and his caregiver, legal guardian and caregiver. So they did have records. I have no fucks about your fire in 2019. You knew that he was there, and that's why you had your human resource bitch in the background, right? Lie to me and tell me no, he wasn't. It's all a mess.
I mean, they had to understand he was incapable of making.
They knew.
Medical decisions in a.
They knew.
They knew. Way, and
yes,
like I said, the manager of the place messed up, and this was his first fatality, right, as the facility manager. So he was shook out about it. I mean, he was in tears. It really messed him up. So they called me on a Saturday. He sent me Dad's entire file, right? Everything. I got it on Tuesday. He FedEx next day aired it that Monday. And I got it on Tuesday.
Then you were able to take over and do what you were supposed to be able to do from the beginning.
Well, right. Well, so then I saw, right, that not only did they admit him, but let him sign all this paperwork, that he was legally not sound through the courts.
He was incapable of making those decisions, and
through the courts. The courts decided that. Not just me, not just his doctors. I was his court-ordered guardian. And they knew it.
In West Virginia for Weavy, it sounds like that the medical registry that you send the application to is a centralized place where I guess the hospitals could access and know once you submit that paperwork. Because I got online and did that all for Weavy last night and sent him
if they look at it, right?
Yeah.
If they look at it,
he's the dad's probably got his wife as the
No, it's Weeby's brother. Here's the thing, though. Weeby's dad doesn't have dementia.
Okay.
Or he's not been diagnosed, right, with dementia, which is generally, right, there has to be a cognitive deficit for a judge, let's say, to step in and appoint a power of attorney or appoint a guardian.
And that's why if you don't get that done
right,
before they get there, then that's what happens, and you lose all control with your loved ones.
Yep.
But
Then probate gets involved, then you get a state issued or a state appointed caregiver who doesn't give one fuck about anybody.
I know, but they also say who's your emergency contact when you're doing
That doesn't matter though. Emergency contact doesn't matter.
I know. I'm not saying that you didn't. Emergency contract, or when they say you have to sign out a piece of paper saying if something what we can release to what. And I literally have to go out of my way and say, hey, if my husband calls for this, that, and that, I give him permission.
Right. But that's different than a power of attorney, right?
It's also involved in all this.
I didn't say nothing about power of attorney.
You need to know people's end-of-life wishes. You know, I don't want to be resuscitated in certain situations.
Right. DNRs matter. Yep.
I didn't say nothing. No, nothing about just
See, like Anna, I've got it typed up.
Yeah. Because I know how they operate. I'm like, no, my husband calls. I give permission for this, that, and that. I want to sign the request now.
See, I have typed up this and printed. I can't believe it's taking me this long to get to you. Right, like you are my power of attorney. Right, once I can get to you and we have it notarized. Right, so that if I get in a car wreck or whatever, or I stroke out, you get to say what like.
Well, if you give her a living will and you give her your intentions in a situation like that, and you say, "Hey, do not let them put me on ventilators and hook me up machines. Let me go." If that's your wish, then your medical power of attorney knows that,
right,
along with the hospital, and you can make that decision is made. And if not, the hospital will hook you up to whatever, and you might sit there. Who knows?
Indefinitely.
Hey,
Yep.
you might want to do that also, and like let me something like for me and you or something like that.
Well, I've got it for Riker, right? So that if I stroke out, that Riker goes to you.
Yeah, and it's different in every state, guys. You need to find out what state your state's
You understand what I'm
rules
saying?
on that are. They're different little guidelines.
See, and that's why I'm grateful for you. Well, like again with Dad, right? I just had ours was a durable, general, revocable
That's
power.
what West Virginia's is. If he gets his faculties back,
Right.
he can mentally say, "Hey, I'm gonna."
And I appreciate like just for you saying that, like right there about like.
Dude, you're it, sis. You're it.
But
There's no other human I trust on the planet to raise this kid with the moral compass that I've already instilled in him, and to promote that and to keep him sick. There's no other human. You're it.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I got you. But I'm saying we need to think. We need to get our ducks in order, man. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, see, that's where I fucked up. So when Dad died, right, we had there's another reason I need you, will be. So we had done.
Yeah. Oh my God! See how God puts people in our lives, Jen.
Right. Thank you, universe. So Dad and I had done his living will and trust. Okay, and like there was no life insurance, right? Correction. I had life insurance for him, but it was minimal because it was fucking healthy. And I messed up, and it was one of those out of sight, out of mind kind of things, right? Like in 13 years, Dad was bedbound for 6 of those years. He never had a bed sore. He never had an infection. Never had a UTI. Like, he was physically as healthy as any other 71-year-old could have been. But when we bought our house in 2018, like that, and we've been renting it for like 6 years before that. So we bought the house we were renting. That's when I did his living will and trust, and I typed it up, going off right using the same language, like verbatim, that the attorney that we paid to do his mother's will and trust used, because he had no assets, right? Like we had the house, but that was it. He had no debt. He had no assets. That was it. And in California at the time, when we did this in 2021, in fact, in August, thank God, of 2021, California law back then was only to have 2 witnesses, right? Which we had. In 2020, California law changed to where you had to have it notarized. Like you were saying,
I'm actually reading it right now, Dago Jim, and it's a lot like West Virginia's 2 witnesses, notary. And like I said, I'm still kind of going through it, but all
that changed in California over the course of 1 year.
Notes and
right. So by the time Dad died, my meth head demon sister, who had not been involved, no one helped me for 13 years. No one. Not my sister, not my brother. For 13 years, no one helped me for one fucking day with this man.
And then they show up thinking some kind of
thank you. Exactly. So
he has something, and they're I don't mean this ugly. They're damn stupid enough to realize, hey, he thinking he might have something. No, look at his life. I don't mean that ugly. I'm just saying.
No. Well, I'll tell you what changed it.
You know, he doesn't have anything.
Well, this some cunt, right? She knew that I had to sell the house, so we bought the house on Dad's VA loan, right? And we split. Like Dad and I split the bills right down the middle. It was me and him and Riker living in the house. We split the bills from the mortgage down to the utilities, right down the middle.
internet bill, everything.
every little thing. And Dad had, he had a decent savings, right, when he passed. But that was his savings, right? Not mine. That wasn't my money. That was his. Anyway, so when he passed, when I found I had to sell the house, I got the realtor and had to hire a probate attorney.
Yeah.
Only because that law had changed in California. So they had to, court-wise, they had to send a notice to my sister. Hey, Dad's dead. The house is going to be sold. It's in his name. Well, she thought she was going to get something out of the house.
Yeah.
So it had to go through probate court. Man, there's a whole, it's such a mess. Which is why I say, I know what, legally, what routes I just need.
To get into those assets. I'm saying the equity basically you and your dad had in that house.
Right. She tried to go after it. But, so between my probate attorney, who screwed me, and my sister, who screwed me, I lost 75 grand.
A lot.
Okay, 75 grand just in the offers on the house, right? So I had one offer on the house, signed all the paperwork, and 2 months later they had to back out because my sister kept contesting the validity of the will and probate court.
You couldn't close. You couldn't do closing.
Exactly.
Close it.
That's screwed up because timing in real estate when the market's hot, literally 2 or 3 months can mean the difference in making a hell of a knot or not making it.
Yep.
Right. It was Central Coast, California, right? So so I lost 75 grand just on the 2 different offers, right, on the house. Plus then, because I let the house go into foreclosure, right, while it was in probate court, I lost another 50 grand. Okay, that I had to pay, that I ended up paying. In probate. Then I found out at the end of all this that my probate attorney, the judge, told the probate attorney at the very first hearing, very first one, this living will and trust was signed by 2 witnesses, right, in 2021. She is grandfathered in. This does not need to be a probate court. This is a legal living will and trust. It is as it stands. Well, my probate attorney was new to probate, I found out, and continued to let my sister get
her nose in the middle of the business.
Exactly. So between the probate attorney and my sister, I lost 125 grand on the sale of the house. But between the sale price of the house and what I ended up having to pay in foreclosure fees to the mortgage company, it's a fucking disaster. It's all disaster. But
I tell you, I'm lucky. I paid cash for this townhome, and they've gone up. They're so desirable now. Every time one comes up for sale, they go over asking.
Right.
Oh, that's awesome.
And,
at the end of the day,
I'm so happy for people that have bought their house and don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I don't pay no mortgage. I don't do nothing. Pay the property tax.
I pay $200 a week here, but it's my uncle.
Right. Well, in the mortgage, rent was $1,600, right? The mortgage was only $1,800. So paying the mortgage wasn't the problem, right? Dad not being given his meds in a state-approved hospital killed him, right? And then
they did not give him.
What's that?
What medicine was it they did not administer to him?
Keppra, Keppra, which was his anti-seizure med. He was supposed to take.
Stop taking that right there if you have seizures.
He took every 12 hours for 5 years. In fact, and I can prove all this on paper.
Yeah, you.
The only 2 seizures that the man ever had in 13 years, both times, were when he was switched through the VA to a new doctor, and both doctors tried to get him off of Keppra. They lowered his dose both times by half. Both times his dose was lowered, he had grand mal seizures.
Yeah,
both times.
Like my mom, Dago Jim, she's been on benzo. She takes Klonopin. She's been on either Xanax or Klonopin for 30 years.
And if she stopped taking that, she would choke out.
Take them absolutely like you're supposed to. She cannot at this point quit taking them.
Nope, she would stroke out.
An option.
She would have a stroke and it would kill her.
Oh, it would absolutely.
Oh, I can't
She
believe
she
that.
actually, I had to start taking care of her medicine because she's lost her eyesight and her hands are not as flexible in her fingers. So she would grab a pill and it was hard to get out of the thing, and
Right.
she started dropping them. So 1 month she was short. I
Right.
said, Mom, you got 3 days before I can get your medicine, and I found like one or two under baseboard and couldn't find
Yeah.
the other, and I had to take her to the hospital after 24 hours and tell them what happened.
And they dosed her.
They wrote her like a couple days, 3 days, 4 days, I don't know.
Yep.
And-
Enough to get her next script.
That's right.
Yes.
Right. Because they recognize, especially with benzo. So Keppra was one, and then quetiapine, which is the generic for Seroquel, was the other. He was on 800 milligrams twice a day. He was on the state maximum, and that's another one similar to benzos. Right. You cannot just stop taking that.
No, you'll have seizures. I mean, it's awful.
Which is what happened. So the death certificate says, right, accidental death due to seizure, and then I have the paperwork in black and white to prove he went 36 hours without a Keppra or a quetiapine. 36 hours. So not only did the state approved mental health hospital not give it to him, our local hospital, who had called me right at 3 something in the morning the day after he was admitted to verify his meds and dosage, still didn't give him his fucking meds at the correct
They
dose.
usually don't transfer somebody from one facility to another in any healthcare facilities without giving who they're sending them to.
It's a racket.
All the paperwork. Here's what he's been taking the last, blah, 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 every so many hours, and they list it in detailed manner here in North Carolina, at least. And
So the doctor, the head doctor, right, the overseeing or the doctor on call or in charge, he was supposed to be on call the 4 days that my dad was there, right? Is the exact same doctor who in 2017 I had to get on the phone with, and again I had this all either on paper or on audio recording. I had to holler at this doctor and tell him he just said he has not taken his quetiapine. The doctor said, "What?" I said, "Yes, doc." I said, "Why do you not?" I'm his caregiver, right? So I know, right, his daily med schedule. What I know all of it for 13 years. You should know this. Like I gave all of this to the paramedics, right? Then I gave all of it to the social worker or the caseworker at the hospital before they transferred him. Then I gave it to your charge nurse. Why has he not had this medicine? You're going to kill. Well,
not like you don't have this. Plus, you have access to all kind of data on the.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's not like you could not find this data in about 6
Right.
different places.
Well, so in 2017, he had a seizure in their facility. There was one of the two that he had, and he fell, and he ended up getting Bell's palsy in his face. Right. So the state mental health hospital had to send him to, I think it was Johns Hopkins, right, who gave him shots of steroids in his face to get rid of the Bell's palsy.
Yeah, it's where one side of your face loses its muscular.
Right.
It's half. Yeah.
I don't know.
But there's a history. So besides just the history with my dad, right, that I can prove in black and white, then I found out after he passed, a girlfriend of mine, they had just, this hospital, it's called Vista Del Mar, okay, in Ventura, California. They had just paid two different broads $6 million because they got hard in that facility. Yes, ma'am.
I tell you, we're lucky
There-
in that area, Jen. We got some great hospitals. Baptist Hospital in Winston-Salem is one of the best hospitals in the world.
Here's my thing, right? In 13 years of taking care of my dad, no matter where we lived or where I had to move us to, every move we made was because that's where he was going to get the best care available in our entire republic. Right? Again, never a bed sore. What? This man was
This man
He was
fought for our
infant.
damn country.
Exactly. And he was an infant again. Right? I had to teach him how to read and write, right, and how to speak and walk. He was an infant. And I had, right, they brought fathers in, right, to give last rites 4 different times when he was in ICU. We spent 9 months at the VA hospital in West LA. For him to have to go out physically healthy, right, there was nothing physically wrong with him. Nothing. He died 2 days before his 72nd birthday.
Yeah.
Oh,
And again,
Sorry you had to go through all that.
from the same hospital, from the same California state approved mental hospital that 2 different times my local hospital sent him to without telling me. Right, both times they let him register himself, knowing through their paperwork, through their own paperwork, they knew that he had brain damage. They knew that he had cognitive deficits. That he was like at max a 6-year-old child, max. They knew it, according to their paperwork. And both times they deprived him of the meds that he had been on for many, many years. In both cases, both times he had a seizure at their facility. One time ended up with Bell's palsy. The other time ended up fatal.
It ain't rocket science. People just need to do their jobs. It's sad.
Exactly.
that part. See, that right
And
there.
that's what I told.
That right
I
there.
got on recording. I mean, Richard, right, the facility manager. Again, this was his first fatality, and it fucked him. Like, he was meant to take his family vacation. Right, all this happened on. Dad died on a Saturday. He was meant to fly to Hawaii on Sunday, and send his family without him. It messed him up. Like, this guy called me more than I had called the coroner, right, demanding different tox tests and different things to happen. They weren't even going to autopsy him, right? Had I not demanded they autopsy him, I would not be able to prove that he didn't have these specific meds, in his system.
Yeah, hospitals run in a manner to cover their ass in every situation.
Yep.
They make you take tests in certain scenarios that you probably don't need, but if you don't get them and then something goes in this direction, they know that they could be sued. That's the way medicine is practiced defensively from a legal standpoint, so we won't get our ass sued off when we fuck up.
Right. You want to hear something funny?
That's the bad thing about our medical.
When I called the coroner, right, within, like, I was driving home from an NHRA race, right? I was like 4 hours from home when I got this phone call, not even knowing that he was at this hospital. So I got home at, like, I think 0200. And the first call I made was to the coroner. And the first thing the coroner asked me was, did he get the jab? Not did he get the COVID shot? Did he get the jab? That was the very first question.
So they can blame it.
Nope.
They want to attribute his death to COVID, probably.
They were trying to. Absolutely. They were trying. They were right.
They got more funds from the federal government.
Yep.
They had COVID.
1,000%.
But yes.
1,000%. Now, I've gotten personal phone from the coroner, from the medical exam. I've gotten phone calls from them on their personal. This was something that really, it messed more than just me up. You know what I mean? Like, the manager of the facility, for the ME to call me on their personal cell phone, and say, this isn't, I'm not calling in my professional capacity. I'm calling as a child, right? It's a man. Basically, I'm calling as a son to a dad, right? You are a daughter to a father. I'm calling in that capacity. This is my personal cell phone number. Call me whenever you want. And he told me, right, what to request from him at work, right, on the recorded line. Which, right, at the end of the day, helps me prove that this was not malpractice. This was what's the word?
I don't know. It's just plain ass. You didn't do your job and you were negligent.
Yeah, but there's a word for it. It's not malpractice and it's not malfeasance. It's
like not acknowledging, not insubordination,
Insubordination. No, but there's a word for it that goes against every doctor's oath. There's a word, and I can't think of what it is right now.
Hippocratic oath. Do no harm.
Yes. Yes.
That's
Right.
their number one thing. Do no harm.
Right. So at the end of the day, I'm not. So the time has expired, right? Whatever, to go after this doctor. So again, it's not the facility, right? It's this doctor, and the fact that, and I can say that confidently, because both of the times my dad was there, right, 4 years apart, he was deprived of the exact same medication under the exact same doctor who had every piece of paper in front of him, right, whether it was a hard copy or on the computer. Right. So I didn't want to do, if I had done a malpractice suit, it would have gone against the facility, opposed to the doctor himself.
We're sorry.
Oh, yeah,
if
they're
this
covered
is
under
our
malpractice insurance. All those
any,
doctors.
Flashbacks. Thanks for still hanging in with us. But if you was up here telling your story, I would do the same for any of y'all.
I'm sorry,
you, and we just love you.
I'm sorry. I know this is not.
No,
I'm
don't you
sorry.
ever apologize. No, if anything is coming off your heart and you're speaking it, that means it needs.
You need to vent this, and this is helping you.
Yeah,
It's not even venting.
you're comfortable enough to speak about it.
It's not even venting, right? Here's my thing. I have met so many of yous, right, through the YouTube, who either have had similar life experiences or have resources that who have enabled yous to help people in similar life experience. You see what I'm saying? So it's not that I need to vent about this. It's not like I've never even cried, right? That my dad is like.
Yeah, but you don't release it that much. And once, when I know when you do,
This is a vengeance thing for me, right?
know.
This is revenge, in my heart, so that, right, because I know full damn well, I cannot be the only kid, even as an adult. I cannot be the only adult, right, daughter or who's lost their parent to negligence. I cannot be the only one.
People not doing their job.
Well, it's lazy, is what it is. Okay, and the doctor on call, right? He was also, so in LA, right, like Ventura County, LA County, there's one of the biggest VA hospitals, is the West LA VA hospital. Okay, they get doctors from Cedars-Sinai, from John Hopkins, residents, right, and then the surgeons that saved my dad's life, the neurosurgeons, right, when they had to do a craniotomy, were from Cedars-Sinai. But when I feel like as a caregiver, right, not just as a daughter, but as a caregiver, I learned to trust the doctors, and I paid not enough attention to the facilities, right, or the doctor's performance at their full-time facility jobs.
You have to advocate for your loved one.
But when they can't,
they see a doctor, you have to ask 100 questions, and none of them are stupid. Ask them, and
because they can't.
Shell says this is love. Well, this ain't that one.
Hey, Shelly, if you're in here, I can't see the chat. What's up?
CCB, stuff like that, like
CB,
Damn, CB, I'm sorry.
that's terrible.
They did that with did that with my mom's sister when she had her baby, and they recut her open and left because they left it in there and had to open up the cesarean for the second time. And once they do that, they can't sew you back up. It just has to heal from the
Inside out, yeah.
yeah.
But there's a difference, I feel like, right between and please no, CB, in no way am I like negating or minimizing that fuck up. Right, that's more than a mistake, for sure. Right, you're a surgeon. You are. Common sense tells me, right, that if you're a surgeon, you have more, your capacity to pay attention to details is more than the average person.
Yeah, it should
Right.
be.
It should be.
I'll tell you a story. My aunt, she's dead now. She died of cancer. She was
Rest in
a
peace.
nurse in the IC unit at Baptist or Forsyth Memorial Hospital for many years. And she could literally, when family members went up there for whatever things, she knew every doctor up there. And she would tell you on certain doctors, don't let him operate on you. You'll
Yep.
be dead. I mean, those nurses that were around that all the time, they knew the doctors that were
They
literally
knew.
who were not good at their craft.
Yep. Man, I spent,
Do not let him operate on you. Go see this guy. He is no good. I've seen a lot of people die that should not have.
even with nurses, right? Dad was in the VA hospital for 9 months. I was there 20 hours a day, every day, for 9 months. Thank God, right? Because like learning from them is what allowed me to be able to care for him at home. But
They just built a big, nice new VA facility in our town, and it's good. The one problem VA hospitals have is the veterans tend to go, and then they see one doctor for 6 or 8 months, and then
Yep.
the new doctor. You don't tend to get a long run with one doctor. It happens, I'm sure, but not a lot.
right, the turnover is really high. Right, because a lot of them are just doing residency, and I get that. For the majority though,
Wife is doing residency at USC Medical Center.
right, but a lot of the USC doctors are quote unquote, I shouldn't say they're residents, they are teaching the residents, right, at a lot of the VA hospitals. But the nurses, I will take the word of a nurse 8 days a week over the word of a doctor.
Damn,
They
Skip.
see
8 days a week.
more situations. They know who
Yep.
is good at their
Well, because
job.
they deal with the patients, right? Doctors make their rounds, right, between 0800 and 1000 every morning, right? They spend less than 5 minutes with every patient. And sometimes they have a patient list. It's 100, they don't have the time. The nurses though, right? Charge nurses, especially, they're the ones with these patients 8 to 10, 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
Right.
And they also see the cause and effect. Like when you give certain medicines
Yep.
to the patient, they react better. When they react worse from it, they see those things over and over. So they know a lot more about how things may go than some of the doctors, I think.
Absolutely. One of the nurses one time at the VA gave my dad an insulin shot, and they put him into he had a stroke because he gave insulin to the wrong fucking patient.
Dago, my dad was in the hospital. He'd had a minor stroke. He was diabetic. I took his sugar every day and give him his shot. When his sugar was low, it was like 160.
I don't know what that means.
Still high. That day, it was down to 110 because they had been feeding him absolutely perfect, but less than sugar than he normally got. He was at 110. I said, and they were going to do physical therapy. I said, you guys need to get something in him. He ain't going to do this well at 110. He never gets that low,
Right.
which is really a good level to have it at. They didn't do it. We sat there and watched him have a stroke 30 minutes later. I seen him shake and fucking convulse.
It's terrible.
I don't know what they call it. Basically, they go to sleep and they're not going to wake up. He died about a week later. And I'm not mad about it because he lived a good life and he was pretty much headed that direction. But he didn't have to have that severe stroke in the end.
Right. See, that's why I was my dad.
Doing physical therapy until he gets something in his stomach and his sugar goes up a little.
Right.
It ain't never this low. I do it every day for the last.
Because you were his caregiver.
I know.
Because you knew. Right. See, that's why I can't be mad.
That may be okay, but for him, he was never that low.
I get it. I get
He'd
it.
get 140 and 50. We were happy.
But he had a good life. Right. Like,
He had a great life. He loved the Lord. He made more money than anybody should ever be allowed to. He gave it away. He helped everybody. His money was wherever there was need.
see, money aside though, if they know, right, with your dad, right, with my dad, with Riker's dad, if they know where they're going, right, in their hearts, right, whatever, Riker's 7, okay, and he has no qualms with death, and here's why. I've taught Riker, whatever heaven is, to you right now is what heaven is, right? But your heaven might be different than my heaven, right? Our heaven is different than our dog Lily's heaven,
With the
Listen,
right?
spiritual higher being, whatever it is for you.
Warning
Right.
in heaven. So
I
if
just,
that person don't go to heaven, you're not going to have no memory of them.
right. But for someone on earth, right, for us, right, this, we're the selfish ones, right? We don't want our
God
people to
said
go.
three things last forever: faith, hope, and love. And you know what the greatest of them is? Love.
Which is energy.
Think about that.
We're all,
Which is energy.
That's right. It's energy that never stops.
all of it is.
Right. Energy never dissipates. Electricity never dissipates ever. Now we're getting on a whole other thing. But I'm with you, really, B. Like, I can't be. I'm not bummed. Like, I'm bummed that my dad. He didn't deserve to die right, like on the floor of a hospital where he didn't even know where he was at.
Jungles and fought in a war we probably should have never been in, but let's not
Right.
go there. But
And that's my
did
qualm.
his job, and he did it well, and he didn't.
Right, and he watched his brothers die. Right, and he man, I can tell you some. It fucked it. Yeah, as a combat medic, right, he had to listen to.
Up to the
It's-
front lines where the people
Yeah,
get shot.
it's heavy.
Back their ass backwards and give them while being shot at over the head and maybe hit.
Right,
And they're in the worst
Right.
vulnerable position in a battle.
right,
Many
and have to
times.
make a decision, right, to either morphine up, right, your brother in arms, while they're screaming for their moms, for their mommies, or, like, forget about it.
Yeah,
I'm not equipped.
They would hold their hand.
Right. So he was fucked up. Right. As he should have been. We are not meant to forget or to get over experiences like that.
You
Nope.
know, it's one thing to deal with death, but to see that many deaths in that kind of manner, and
And then to not want to live after that, like the survivor's guilt, like to feel guilty about that every day,
That's
and to have nightmares about that for every day for your whole existence. That's where my dad was at.
Dago, I had an uncle who entered the Marines at 17 during World War II. On D-Day, he was 12 miles behind enemy line. His group literally went and did some really bad, horrific things. They created terror in the German
Right.
area. He came home and they didn't call it PTSD then, and he drank himself numb he was alcoholic, bad.
Yep.
And he almost died. And he went to the VA when he was about 68. They said he ain't going to make it through the night. He came out of that, dried out, got off the alcohol, and we found out that in our area he had more awarded merits in battle than anybody. But he used to tell a few stories to another uncle. He seen stuff, man.
I'm telling you.
And we were told, you shoot everything in that house that's in there, man, woman, child, dog,
Yep.
cat, a baby,
Yep.
whatever. They ain't nothing living when you come out. And
Right.
they've seen a lot of ugly stuff. And he was 17. Because back then, during World War II,
They're babies.
Yeah, my
I don't
uncle
care
was that
before they were
person that
18 and
broke the
lie.
line.
And they didn't care because we needed soldiers.
Yep. Yep.
was in
They're for
the
the 15-year-olds. And I mean, it's the things that
15.
that's what I was saying earlier, right? PTSD doesn't mean the same thing now. That was when I was growing up.
15. Had a kid.
That was exclusive, right? PTSD was. So when Chris died, when my old man died in our bed, I'm not a fan of therapy. Okay, I'm not a fan of psychotherapist or psycho. I'm just not a fan of it. But my dad's his VA psych, right, I'd been to weekly, right, with dad for probably 2.5 years. He had convinced me to go to to a non-VA psych doctor. And it turned out so the psych doctor was a veteran, a Vietnam vet, and I was his only non-veteran patient. And I saw him 4 times, and that 4th time, he says, well, you have PTSD. Nope. No, it's not the fucking same. It's not. It used to be exclusive to combat veterans, right? To veterans in general.
I understand
That used to be exclusive,
affects them.
right? But it used to be exclusive, right, to veterans, to combat vets. Now, right then, generational thing, right? Then they started applying to people like me, right? Who have seen
Somewhere in your life you have experienced a trauma, an emotional or physical and or both, that has affected you more than you're starting to understand.
but it's not the same. But it's not the same.
Yes,
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Put it in the back of your head, but it affects you, but you don't realize it for a long time.
But for people to say now, right, today, right, to say, oh, I've got PSTD because I was almost hard. Shut the fuck up. Shut up.
Oh, yeah, I can't stand when.
The
Yeah,
sad
just-
thing about
they
all
try
that
to blame
is
it on their parent.
Right.
With that,
The
one
acronym
side
is used now
is
too
different
lightly.
for different people.
But the acronym it's used it's used nonchalantly, right?
Yep.
And it's not something that's trendy. It shouldn't be something that's trendy. And now it's fucking it makes me rageful. I'm not gonna lie, it makes me fucking rageful.
All that is.
I've seen a
bipolar,
lot of
depression.
veterans that go into animal. They deal with animals and through their therapy, and that's helped
Yep.
a lot of them. And to me,
1,000%.
that seems like something that
They even do that with depression and all that shit now.
I don't know.
Fucking
And special needs kids.
Giving them about a half a dozen prescriptions of God knows what, and thinking that's going to work.
Dude, when my dad died, he was on 18 different medications, all from the VA. Right, and like his mental health doctor, right, didn't communicate with his general practitioner, right, who didn't communicate with the whatever the one was, right, for his innards, right, the man innards, the oncologist or whatever. Like, they all had access to the same system, right, but none of them, left hand didn't know what right hand was doing, and it's our job as a caregiver, and I know Wilby, you get this. It's our job as a caregiver to
advocate
Yep.
for your loved
and
ones.
to teach one doctor to teach them, right, we have to learn. I had to learn what the side effects could be from a high blood pressure med with with one of his head meds, right, or I don't know, with a general vitamin. It was, and none of these doctors knew anything about what the other was doing. But all you work for the same. You're all government. You all work for the same fucking conglomerate company. Stop it one time. It makes me. I'm sorry. It makes me rageful.
Yeah, I have a
It makes
story.
me
I'll
rageful.
share one night, maybe in
never
Discord,
apologize. What the
with
fuck?
a friend of mine's son who
Feel bad.
got locked up in West Virginia under he was schizophrenic, and he got locked up in a mental hold, and they let him out without notifying his parents. He had just moved up there to be with his
Oh,
dad.
Jesus.
And stepmom. He didn't know anything, was still hollering, he's the devil and he's going to blah, blah, blah. Just schizophrenic hallucination. They let him out in town. He didn't know directions anywhere. They found him 30 days later out in the
Oh, my
middle of
God.
nowhere in West Virginia. And one night when you guys want to talk about it, I'll give you a link to another creator who did about an hour-long live stream. It gives you the storyline a little bit. And there's a lawsuit
send me the
against the
link.
Southern Jail in
Can-
West Virginia right now about
As
how
there should be.
horrendous
Can
care
you
has
put
been
it?
for
Can you
inmates.
As
put
there
it
should
in
be.
the
I
Discord?
met we
Can you put it in the Discord?
I will. I will tonight if
What
we
was
pop
like.
over there later. Or something.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going here after. Matter of fact, hey, there it is.
This
'Cause
was a
I
good
just got
kid.
someone. I love y'all, and I know. Apparently, it's just been us for a minute. Apparently, we're boring people, but I don't care. I love y'all, and this is how I've always.
You're
been.
1,000% right.
Do you
Sorry,
understand?
It's
What?
another story, Dago, about how our system and institutions just do not do their job.
Well, here's the thing. I got no problem telling people. You don't like, hey, you can have it your way. Burger King is hiring around the corner. I fucking
I
promise.
don't like that, man.
Yeah,
Listen,
Yeah.
and you know what was fucked up? My stepdad. Don't you remember? We was just talking about that. Remember, we was just talking about fucking nursing home and hospice. All they do is OD them. That's it.
Right.
That's
Right.
Well, I can deal with hospice because if you're
Or
at
they
the
just
end of the
wither
stage and
away.
you get palliative care, that hospice does a pretty good job around here. I've seen them do it over and over, but you still have to be right there with them and advocate.
Yes, you do.
Listen, my stepdad and all he could have died at his home, but no, because my fucking mom, she left with the phone. If the phone was left at the house, he could have stayed at the house. But
But see, like Ruby said, right? They need
They can't.
advocates.
that's
You
what
have
I'm
to
saying.
be there,
But
ask a million
when they
questions,
came,
and demand.
when she was gone, that was it. So he had to fucking die at a fucking hospice instead at his motherfucking home. And he wouldn't have died if he was at his house. Because, yeah, they saw on paper all these subpoenas and shit he was getting, but he didn't
Right.
take them. You know what I mean? You know what we do. He didn't take them. So when you have to start taking the medication that you're on
Right.
paper,
Guys, I put that in private chat, a link to that stream, and it's two girls, Decipher podcast. They're dear friends of mine, and sometime when you get a chance, just kind of, if you want to, check it out. It tells the story. This kid I helped, this kid's dad was a good friend of mine. We used to
hold
both
on.
hustle. And he played sports. His dad was a hunter, and his dad asked, he said, "Look, you played sports. How about taking Dustin and play basketball with him?" And I did. He was like 14. He good kid, man. But when he got to be 20, 21, he was bipolar. Then they started having other issues. He found out he was schizophrenic. And
Copy
system
or
failed him.
save link as, Andrew. Copy or save link as.
Copy.
And then when you
There's no
take wherever you go,
schizophrenia
it's,
that I have a problem with. I've got a girlfriend. Here's my problem with doctor their textbook analysis. Okay, I have a girlfriend in California who's like a soul sister to me. She was like the last 6 months I was in the only one. Anyway, she was diagnosed at 16 and she's only 32. But she was diagnosed with as bipolar and schizophrenic and like clinical depression or something. Anyway, so she's lived her whole adult life, right, on SSDI, right, on Social Security Disability, because of these diagnoses that were made when she was 16 years old. When I was there through Thanksgiving, through December, and we finally got to talk, like without her old man there. And whose voices are they? Okay, I read about this study. Our head voices, I learned, are usually they are our interpretation of our mother's voice when we are toddlers. Right, even if it's not the same voice, at least the same tone. So I'm asking her, like, she tells me, well, I hear, her old man's name, right? I hear my cousin, right, telling me all the time. They're all my voices. So the voices in her head tell her constantly, "You're not shit. You're a piece of shit. You're a shitty mom, right? You're a shitty old lady. But she was diagnosed, and I said, well, wait a minute, but you've been diagnosed, right, with these that you've been on medication on for for more than half your life. Have these, like, has it always been the same voices? Or are they all saying the same things? She says, yeah. She got knocked up when she was 15, almost barely 15. Had her first kid when she was 15.
Same here.
And that's what started the degradation, right, of her integrity by her friends, by her family, by everyone she knew. So, in her early 30s now, she's still hearing, right, the same shit talking and the same voices as her family. But she's been diagnosed as as schizophrenic. Yes, baby.
See, I'm so glad, dude, because my mama
Right.
had her at 14. You know what I mean? And I never was ashamed or nothing.
Right. I guess my point is that these doctors go by textbooks, right? And especially in hospice care, they go by textbook, opposed to.
If you look in chat, CB Shenanigans is telling his story about his grandparents, and he's
Yeah,
he's been doing.
Here I come.
We're all kind of letting these things out, so I just
Yes, it's good. This is what I love, though. This is what I've always wanted it. Being this right here, like we're literally at a therapy session. Where you feel comfortable enough to even
Right.
speak about it.
And I agree, Phoebe. That was 1,000% selfish of her. And we are mortality is such a thing. I'm so aware, right, every day of our mortality. We are all inherently selfish, right? When it comes to mortality, we would sooner. How do I say this delicately? As much as we don't want our people to suffer, right, mentally or physically, we would, on some level, most of us would rather them suffer so that we had one more day with them, than lose them. And it's a tricky thing. It's a tricky thing to navigate, and it's a tricky thing to self-reflect on. And I feel like until you've dealt with mortality, right? Until you've dealt with someone in hospice, right? Until you've seen dead eyes.
And as you get older,
It's a hard thing,
retire, folks.
right? It's a hard thing.
Loved ones, it's like a play. They come in on stage left. You love them and you cherish them. They're a blessing that you have them, but you never know when they go off on stage right and it's over. You always wish it was more, but in the end, you have to be thankful you got what you got, whatever it was. And in many cases, it's way less than we feel like we ought to got. But in the end, not for the intersection of you being in their lives and you being in theirs, you didn't choose each other. You thank God you had them.
So that's my point, right? At some point in our lives, we have to take that you wish that they were still here as being what it is, which is selfish.
Yeah, you have to
Right.
think, hey, I got this many years, and if I would have had a choice to begin with, you're only going to get this.
Right.
I took it.
But if-
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but I think I'm always going to see it. This is how I get to go by, right? I'm going to see them on the other end, and I know they can hear me.
Right.
My dad, the way he passed, and he had that last stroke, and he basically went to sleep, and they did palliative care for a week. Honestly, I was at peace with it.
But
Thank y'all.
okay, so I have a question. Did you know that his spirit was right? Call it spirit, call it soul, call it energy. Did you know that he was at peace and good with being bailing on his meat sack?
Yeah.
Did that make it easier for you to deal with his passing, I guess?
Sleep and, but I know he was hearing me.
Oh, dude, my dad was in a coma.
Justin, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm just, I get emotional sometimes, but it's good emotion. I thank God I was so lucky.
My dad was in a coma for 63 days. Okay. And when he woke up, his mom was there. My brother was there.
Accident happened on the way home. It's not him, is it?
Oh, Justin.
I don't mean to interrupt, but when I see things in chat,
No, yeah.
Whoa, I didn't see that.
You're right. Actions, Arizona drivers, oil and water don't mix.
no, it's always when the rain just starts that it's the worst.
Yeah.
Right. The oil comes up on the road.
Right.
I can barely
Damn
see it
peeled
when I put
onion.
up there, being on this vertical. You know what I mean? I like it better when it's down there, on the long ways, we can see it. Look how tiny that is. Can you see
Yeah, I hate
it?
this vertical thing.
When you get that cord and you hook it to that monitor, and you got
Exactly,
that
Cindy.
bigger screen, you're gonna be
Hey, Deborah.
like I say, I got a 60-inch.
But listen, I appreciate all y'all being just speaking. And I love y'all, man. Jen, you're
Hey, I
a
seen the picture you sent, and I seen one. It was the back of the TV.
yeah, I did the.
Is there another one on the side of the laptop you've sent?
Yeah, I
No,
did the
Willie, she's got a
computer,
tower.
and then I did the TV.
Okay, so I'm going to close this topic out real quick.
You should
Mortality
have it on
matters.
the back of your TV,
Andrew,
Anna.
too. Huh?
Hey, I'm going to close out
Check your phone, Anna.
this whole old people talk real quick. Mortality matters, my friends. And when we type things, right, like much love and respect, or when I personally, right, type, endless thanks, right, endless respect, I mean it. right? If any of yous,
You never know when it's going to be the last time. either.
right, right. If any of yous are on your deathbed, right, or if I'm on mine,
Yeah.
and I think of yous, I'm going to think of these chats, right, of my last communication with any one of yous, and it's going to be fucking positive. And if any of yous were to go right to upper room, it's important to me that yous know that I adore you, right, that I respect yous, that I love to my core.
I love you more.
That's why I don't like
Right, like,
happening between
I
people.
just-
Guys,
all these things matter, and people go through life, and we go through our day to day, driving our cars, right, and riding our bikes, and shopping.
If someone lost somebody yesterday or the day before.
Well, and you never know when you're taken out, right? Right now, I could be in Walmart right 2 hours ago, and some lunatic could have taken us out.
Just
right?
shut.
it's like this. Somebody left work today somewhere in this country and had an accident, and they're no longer
Right.
alive. I'm sure
Right.
it happened somewhere.
Right, that's my point. Right, I feel like,
You never know
hey,
when that comment
I didn't get
will
this
happen.
till I saw dead eyes. I didn't understand any of this till I had a dead man in my bed, and I failed to bring him to breathe rest right back. I didn't understand any of this. Mortality, it matters, and in our last, how we end our conversations, right, when we say our salutations, those words carry weight, and those little things matter. That's it. That's it to me.
You already know. You already know I'm here, and I got you. Because, like I said, and I've been saying it. I don't care what anyone thinks. I don't believe in sending kids to school, but I know I got 3 good schools here that are still good, like good schools.
And, right, and you're what I trust, right? But that's a whole nother. I just,
And
at
I
the end of
love.
the day, YouTube, it drives me nuts when people say YouTube isn't real life, because this is my real life. Like, use these conversations, use are my real fucking life, right?
Well, no,
Use make an impact on me and on my kid, and that's my whole life.
But it's sometimes to me, my fur baby. You know, what I mean, it's you already
Right?
know. I love my.
Yeah, fun.
That's
Shh, wait a minute. Shh. Oh, he just did the shut up thing with his hand to me. I'm gonna, man,
what did you say? I thought that was you saying.
gosh damn it. Mortality matters. I gotta keep that in mind when I want to fucking strangle my kid. Damn it.
Why do I, Anna? Remember that sign that I showed you in actions?
Which one?
The one that's in my living room here. Why do I feel like I need to show Jen now?
Show it.
One sec. Let me grab it.
I love his fucking little accent.
Man, all of yours and Will Bees, there's something charming about a southern accent. There just is. And there's, in my mind's eye, there's something very primal, I guess, right, and raw about a New England accent, or when I say use, right, the two.
Yeah, I know. I love it.
It's
It's almost like a Boston, New York type.
it's New England for sure.
So
Love it.
Jen,
Look,
this
Look at
plaque
this.
hangs up right in front of my door right
It's
there
funny.
behind me. And it says insanity is hereditary. You get it from your kids.
Man, fuck this kid. Fuck all the kids. Fuck all the kids. I'll tell you what though. I will give my last breath so he has one more. So fuck the kids.
When? Okay,
Damn it.
how old was you when you had him?
38. I turned 39. Let me think. I was 38 when I found I was knocked up. Yes, I turned 39. No, that can't be right. 38 when I had him. I was old.
I think my mom was older. Okay.
Look, I got no qualms about it. My only thing is that when if I put him in public school, I'll be the oldest. Right, I will be older. I could be the grandma to most of his classmates. Right?
People's like, I thought you have a brother. I'm like, you're not understanding. Like, I had my own kid, and then my mom had a kid a year after I had my first kid. So people's like, what? I'm like, yeah, my son is older than his uncle. Yes.
Right. I have a lot of friends like that at home, right? Most of my friends, all my friends, got knocked up, or knocked or brought up when they were, 15, 16, 17 years old.
Yep.
And that it tied them down to that little town, that whole little area, the Central Coast of California. And they've, not get knocked up. I have lived in more states in our republic than I have not lived. I mean, I have people that will be my friends to my grave, right? And we can go 6 or 9 or 12 months without speaking to each other, and we will pick up right where we left off.
My mom was 39, 40 when she had my brother.
Right. I don't know. I feel bad for Riker in that if he was to go to public school, I'll be old enough to be most of his classmates' grandmas, right?
Oh, don't you dare!
On the flip side, though,
Jen, that's okay, because my mom had me at 35. Everybody used to say my mom was my grandma.
and you're good.
Don't you dare
good.
worry about that.
Well, see, and Andrew, you're like Riker, right?
Yeah.
But you, Andrew, are like how I'm raising Riker. The two of yous, Shirley, your mom, has taught you more life. You've got more valuable information from her, her life experience, than you ever got especially in public education. And that's how Riker's going to be, right? Riker knows how to shoot guns. Riker can, if I stroked out right now, this minute on this floor, my kids would be fucked up. But could he survive? Like if I just disappeared, right? He could be 1,000% self-sufficient in his house for well over 2 weeks.
But you do need to like say, hey, and do like an emergency thing.
No,
like
I have that. You're that. Stop it. I have all that.
You know what I mean?
You're that.
Like say, hey, push this, and it goes to my phone or something. You know what I mean?
Yes. I won't say that again. My apologies. I've been scolded by this kid.
But you understand what I'm saying, though?
I do. My point, though, is that there's something to be. There's got to be a level of appreciation. I feel like for broads like me, right, who didn't get knocked up when we were young, right, who were able, and now, which makes us able to give our kids the life experience that they otherwise would not have. Like Riker knows, I am not your friend.
Those get knocked up. That's the greatest blessing in life.
That's what I'm saying. At least,
I know it comes at the wrong time sometimes, and it's difficult, but in the end, a child is a blessing no matter what.
I'll tell you what. When I got knocked up, I had a legit existential crisis. With the amount of blow I was doing, but I've never been suicidal, right? But it didn't matter to me if I if I woke up the next day.
So you better be watching out.
You know what I mean?
Tell you this.
Yeah.
So for Mark and I to
be able to do it, I love it.
To be able to, we grew a fucking human. We grew a human.
You got to reach that in life because you got a whole different reality with a kid coming.
Oh, forget about it. Forget about it.
Things ain't the same.
Growing as human taught. I was never into politics. I never knew about, and I was raised Catholic. Right? I'm Roman Catholic.
They don't know that.
But Pirozzolo, I am Dago. I'm Guido to the core. I got my dad's dog tags tattooed on me. Right? I mean, it's a Roman Catholic. But until I was growing a human, I never learned about like the books that the Vatican was keeping. I never learned about emerald tablets, right? Or none of that.
Justin.
I'm sorry, Justin. I didn't mean to bore you, brother. I'm glad you're okay.
In their house for literally I don't know how many thousands of books.
Wait,
we had a lot of books growing up.
I don't care if it's just us here right now, man. Like on some real shit. I'm enjoying this, and I love y'all. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I'm with you. There was always a,
you know what I
that's
mean?
my mind's eye. I can picture right now, right? The huge, like, wooden bookcase that we had. So, and I still love reading, but none of it ever, I don't want to say mattered. None of it ever made an impact until I was growing a fucking human.
Yep.
That,
you know what? We're genetically ingrained in a woman when she has a child, she becomes pregnant. The mother thing kicks in most 99% of women, and it's just the love is just
It's primal.
and
It's
being
primal.
the mama cub over the mama line over that little cub, it's innate.
Yeah, because I didn't have it with my mom, and my grandma worked all the time, so I
Yeah,
never got that love. Nor
Neither.
That's
I
why
feel
I
almost guilty. I mean, I had a picture book.
I said my whole life. When my friends, when they found out I was knocked up, they legit thought I was lying. Like people, they were calling me saying, "You've never lied to me in your whole life," and you're telling me you're knocked up? Bullshit. I never wanted to be a mother, ever. And only by call him God, call him Yahweh, whatever, by Creator's grace, He gifted me and blessed me enough to grow a fucking human being. Like, just, I don't think people pay enough attention to how we are miracles. That's it. We are not mistakes. The amount of
No, he
Oh.
knew you needed. No, he knew.
I don't even know how to describe. I don't have the vocabulary. The way that our bodies, just our organs, right? The way that our internal organs have to operate, have to work together,
Yeah.
and the rate that our organs grow, like the rate of growth, and when they grow during gestation. Forget about it. That is not an accident.
No.
It's just not. It's just not. And I was never, I've never been, religion to me is a racket across the board.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly, I'm a wholehearted believer and fan of spirituality, but religion, organized religion, is a fucking racket.
Yeah, whatever you believe, though, all this, the magic and the
Yeah.
everything working how it does is an absolute
know.
friggin' miracle. I mean,
It's a miracle.
Natural.
comprehension. Two
Right.
rocks hit each other and smashed in space, and we have an Earth that people can.
Boom.
Animals, we have seeds, we have food, we have day, we have night, we have light, we have dark.
Yes.
I mean, it's
And
beyond
There's
comprehension to me.
Milky Ways. This is just our Milky. This is just here.
I just watched
whatever
something.
you do, I think a higher being is involved in this is hard for me.
I can't wrap my head around it. I just watched something about cows, right? Look at a cow, right? Who is, to us, right, just a stupid field creature, right? They eat grass and they make milk, but somehow, Creator knew that they needed how many 4 stomachs, right, to be able to digest all these different minerals and vitamins that cows eat off the earth, that's provided by the earth.
Yeah.
Right.
The Bible
And then-
says the seeds and the animals and all the things he gives us are the things for over our domain, and
Right. But then the cows, right, the gas that they produce, right?
Look how pathetic that is.
Man, all of this, we are not accidents. There's nothing, and like being sentient, right? That's another thing for me.
Look at that.
No one's going to tell me that,
It's an
like
inch.
if we cut a limb off a tree, right, and the whole tree, but that limb dies, we call it disease. Right? Oh, that limb was diseased, right? It had some kind of illness or bacteria, whatever.
That's bad.
All these things, no one's going to convince me that anything that takes oxygen to survive isn't sentient.
that's another
Like,
thing. It's crazy how it works. Perfect.
Right.
Jen, look at that. Jen, look at that. Look how bad that is. It's 2 months though. I made it last 2 months or a month and a half.
I said it earlier. Your nails look bad. I said that earlier. Yeah.
Bad, bro. Look at that. Fucking bad, bro.
See, that's why I love you. We can go talking about things like being sentient, right, immortality, to something as simple. The simple things make us happy still. Right? Fucking fingernails.
You know what I mean? Like, but I rarely do that. But I just ain't been able to. You know what I mean?
That's one of the things. But I mean,
I put
Dude,
other
look at it.
shit first. You know what I mean? I just put other stuff first. I'd rather had a keyboard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my
I just
keyboard's
wanted-
messed up
I
in the
wanted a
jeans.
second monitor. Guys, I really did. I was wanting to go live tonight and show. Didn't I, Andrew? I wanted to do different. I'm not going to say it though. I'm not going to
Yeah,
ruin it.
keep it for yourself.
I am. I am.
Expose it once we set it up.
Yeah. I ain't saying. Nope. You almost had me slipping.
Did you figure out your setup though?
See, actually, here's my thing with that. One thing I
It's all
hate,
set up by the plug.
one
What?
thing I hate is people who call kids stepkids, right? Those are
Or half
bonus
brother,
kids,
half sister. I don't like to hear that.
but it's your bonus, right? That's your bonus brother,
Who
right?
said
That's your
that?
bonus,
Who?
like,
You're damn lucky to have them.
Whoa, whoa,
Right.
whoa, whoa, whoa. Who
No.
said anything about step? Whoa, 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 whoa,
no,
whoa.
no one did. No one did. Actually, just said that he never wanted, like, he never thought about having kids. But if he dated abroad with kids, that'd be different. Which in my head, right, led me to stepchildren.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't like that. No, they're
I don't like it
children.
either.
It's not half your brother. He is 100% wholly your brother.
Right.
There,
Don't-
that
right.
You
part.
know, I don't care for those terms, but
No,
That part.
you're
I
taking
don't
care
like
of
titles.
that child. That child's yours. That's not a step.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
not
like
nothing.
titles.
But that's kids are so well, not just kids,
I
right?
love
We're
you,
all
I love
used to
you.
saying, you know, I had a stepdad, right?
Yeah.
I said earlier, right, like my last bonus dad, right? I was blessed enough to have 3 dads, right? You know, my dad, and then I had David Moon. So when I was 15 and I got kicked out, I mean, he was a boy, right? The kid, and we're still friends. I'm his first son's godmom. To this day, we're still friends. But his dad,
You're
became
lucky.
my second dad.
But you had a shitty ass mom. Just like and my mom had, 3 boyfriends. Like I can literally say like the grades, like that to 3rd grade to 7th grade, and then that,
Right.
you know what I mean? That's what I call it. Like, mom's boyfriend from, 3rd to 7th. You know what I mean? I literally say it like that.
Right.
But
See, that's something I'll never have Riker. I'll never let him. Like, you were blessed with good people. You know what I mean? You were influenced generally. Your bonus people were generally good people, right? They taught you, at a minimum, valuable life lessons. It's not kids having like a step parent, right, or a step brother, or it's not okay with. Those are your bonus people. Like,
oh, I thought you were talking about my shit. Never mind. I'm sorry.
those are your bonus people, right? They're not step anything, right? You step
No.
down on things, right? You people think when I feel like generally when we think of the word step, right, we think down, right? We're
I
stepping
don't
on.
like that.
There are
Or like
bonus people,
brother,
right?
or
There are
step-
bonus dads, our bonus moms, our bonus brothers or sisters.
like
They're extra.
Cinderella. You know what I
my
mean? Like
family
child.
raised a black kid from the time he was 11 till 21.
Yeah.
He played Pop Warner football in our little town, and his mom was drinking bad and left Florida. He asked my dad one day, he said, "Coach Barrow, can I come live with you?" And he said, "Bring your mom up here tomorrow and let me talk to her." And yeah, you can. And
Oh, I love it.
blessing in the end of this story, which is not
awesome.
good, is he
That's
got
what
shot
I'm
in the back
talking
of the
about.
head on the streets of Baltimore in 1993.
See, and that makes you his bonus brother, right? Your dad was his bonus dad,
Absolutely.
right? Not a stepdad, not a foster. That was a bonus. It's an upgrade, right? It was an extra that we are so seldom gifted with.
That's awesome. That's a good story.
My dad, he wanted a Trans Am, and my dad said, "Well, he got a job at McDonald's, worked like crazy, saved every paycheck." They actually called my mom one day and said, "Miss Barrow, Billy has not cashed a check in 9 months," and she went.
Oh, wow.
Billy, what's the deal with all the checks? He had them in the drawer. He said, "Well, I wasn't going to spend the money. I'm saving. I just figured I might just put them in the drawer."
And you know what that's from?
Oh, because
But anyway, my dad ended up buying him a Trans Am.
he didn't even want to see the money. That's smart, though. That's smart.
But that's from your parents, right? That's from the moral compass that was instilled in that kid from your mom and pops.
That's
Yeah, but,
smart. Why
He,
see the money? Don't even worry about it. Just put it in there. Boom, boom.
That's invaluable.
Smart. That's
So where's he
smart.
at now in life? Do you know?
he got shot in Baltimore in the back of the head.
Oh my God.
In 1993. I don't know. I've tried to look into it. We had him flown back and buried right over here. Had the service, and we just in Baltimore in '93 was the worst year for murders. Drug murders were basically, they didn't investigate them because they were so overwhelmed with the number of them. When you could shoot somebody and just throw 3 little pebbles of crack rocks on the ground, and it was called a
Considered drug.
and it went into a file they didn't have the resources to investigate them all. So I don't know what to this day actually anybody's ever been held accountable.
No, fuck you, Murphy, and your laws. That's terrible.
I know the day he died. I know that I can pull up the street on Google Maps and tell you where he was shot. I got one newspaper thing from the Baltimore Sun where they did a correction on the name and a few things, and that's
Our world is a piece of shit.
His aunt he was living with said that where he lived, that if he went out the door and kind of went to the left or one way, it was a bad way to go. It was like a certain group, a Jamaican gang or whatever, was heavy and they were violent. And if he went the other way, it was the people that lived there all their lives, and it was okay. But she said he went out the door and went the wrong way, and she thought, why is he going that way? He knows better. And by God, they shot him right in the damn back of the head twice.
Oh, damn.
Right in the middle of the goddamn street. Excuse my language. Forgive me, Jesus.
There's it might be worth looking into. Your or the local, not your, but the local cold case unit.
Hotlines too.
Well, there's look, I was a key witness in a murder trial. Not too long ago, right? There was a cold case for 26 years.
Wow.
Yeah. People do confess.
Yeah, if you just look up Paul Flores, right, and Kristen Smart.
Can you type it in back chat, possibly?
Yeah, I'll send you a link. I'll send you a link to one of the videos.
I love to look into things like that, and I'll send you guys the link on Billy, and we'll look at the Google place where he was done and the article one night on Discord. But
yeah,
I'm just saying, it's amazing what I learned right through that case specifically that we think the general population, right? We think that no one pays attention anymore, right? When there are realistically cold case detectives who never stop, right? And because things aren't put out publicly, right? To an effort to maintain the integrity of evidence, right, or the case or whatever, people think that nothing's happening.
yeah, I've looked on the internet, Jen, and I can't find any cold case reference to him. I can't find any judicial charges against anybody. I can't find anything but about a 3-sentence thing in the Baltimore Sun, and that tells the street address and brief.
Okay, let's look up.
And I've looked on
County, Jen, and
I'm gonna have then. So I've never had friends on the up, if you will, right, on the legal side until this case I was involved in. And the lead detective on that case, Clint Cole is his name. He became the first and only Leo who to my grave I will trust a man.
He's a law enforcement individual that you respect, and there are a lot.
Right. But through him, without him, I never would have learned, right? So Clint Cole, he was a detective, right? He did his time, right, in the street, whatever. But he was then he went detective, and he was brought in as the only detective in a whole cold case department.
Yeah,
right.
And there's no telling how many cold cases they had. He had.
Oh man, dozens. But one of the first cases he solved.
Versus these, what these are called?
What's that?
These type of purses, they're called. Mammal calls them.
I don't see what you're looking at. Hold on.
like a pocketbook or
No, they're these type of purses. I got it's like 5 inside the other. She calls them something.
Hold on. I don't see what you're looking at. Hold on. That buggy?
a diaper bag, a purse, a carry bag.
Well, there's like 4 of them, but she calls them something. It's a certain word.
That's a whole buggy of shit that you have.
No, just 3 purses inside another. I just tucked them, and I got more. It's I'll figure it out. I'll show you.
It's a matching
I'm
handbag
sorry. Like a collection of things?
No,
ensemble.
it's just a purse. It's like a quilted purse, a quilted
Mhm.
bag.
I could see
It's called something.
the
I can't
fabric. It looked
oh fuck, man! I just had it 2 minutes ago, and
This is
then
going to eat at me till 3 a.m. now.
I'm trying to switch it up. Oh,
Like a tradition in your family?
Bella Taylor. Oh, god dang it! These fucking. It's the purses. They're old school, quilted. Ah, fuck.
Usually I'm on the same brain wave as Anna, and I'm sorry, sis. I'm lost right now.
God, I'm trying to fucking stop crying. Motherfucker.
Quit being leaky. Quit being leaky. Maybe tomorrow, not today. Anyway, I think that's a general misconception about law enforcement, right? Especially with these cold case files. People think that nothing happens because nothing is put out to the general population, and there's a reason it's not put out.
the short, quick version of how it kind of all came together, or are you rather not, or what?
I am good. This stuff that, like, man, I helped put away some dude that told me when I was 17 that he murdered this girl. Right? I'm the piece of shit that didn't say anything for 26 years.
And
So-
you maybe did halfway believe him, or you maybe did. I don't know.
Oh, no, I believed him. I totally believed him. I also knew that how law enforcement worked back then, right? It's when I was barely 17. Anyway, I was part of the reason that I've caused these parents to live a parent's worst nightmare every day of their lives for 26 years. I was part of making that.
Living in because of that, though, that might have been kept you from.
Yeah, I didn't want to be her. Yeah. So Kristen Smart was, she was 19. I was 17. Yeah, I didn't want to be her. But
Yeah, I mean,
that's no excuse to be a coward, right? Like, that's no excuse to,
Vera Bradley,
Even-
or something like that.
even Cole, right? When I talked to the detective for the first time, he's like, look, we wouldn't have believed you then anyway, right? You were involved with motorcycle clubs. You were out on your own, right? You were a dumb kid out on your own at barely 17. We wouldn't have believed you.
Unknowledgeable. You're just kind of green in the street world at that time at 17. You think you know a lot. We all did, but honestly,
Totally.
we did.
Right. Right, they can, that, I feel like all those,
Yeah,
even from the parents, right, even from the smarts, well, at least you're coming forward now. That's all pacifying me, right? That's all, that's their effort to help minimize my guilt. When that's, I don't know. There's people like, my point though,
It let a lot of pressure off your back, or so to speak, a burden to you, having that
you know, he got life, and then his throat got slit within 1 hour of him being on yard. He survived, but
And what I don't know anything about it, but I'm thinking he very likely could have repeated that some
And
other
he did.
time.
and he did when they, yeah. So when they ended up doing their search warrant on him, right in 2020, both on him and see, and some of this is not even out there yet. what was on his laptop that is out there was him making like amateur prawn videos, right? Where he had broads like ball gagged and bound, where he had drugged them up, right, hard R in them. And he recorded this stuff. So there was a whole hard drive. And then, it's not out there yet.
That's rape when people can't mentally.
Which is how they ended up. Oh, it was a mess. Anyway, through the search warrants, right, of his house and seeing these videos is how they were able to get and then through my testimony, right, was how they got the DA to pick the case up finally after 26 years.
Hearing that makes me think there's no telling how many girls he might have. And I don't know. I could be completely wrong. I mean, no disrespect.
I can tell you this. The LA County Sheriff's Department or Police Department, they never picked up charges, right, for SA or rape, for whatever. And no one, through the whole trial, what was sentencing, no one can understand why. I got a phone call probably a year ago. Let me know that I gotta be careful. That 3 letters, right, different 3-letter agencies have been watching him for well over 2 decades. Right. So basically, once he left the Central Coast and went down to LA, and they got their first hard R report, they had been watching him and his dad. Okay, so the trial that I was involved in, it was him and his dad on trial, but with 2 different juries, but in the same courtroom. What didn't come, and his dad was found not guilty. He was found guilty. What didn't come out though during trial was that there was a box, and again, like, surely it's out there somewhere, but it's not in big press. What wasn't presented during the trial is that his dad, Ruben Flores, in his closet was a box of hard drives, right? Just hard drives. And on those were thousands and thousands and thousands of pictures of CP. And similar images were found on hard drives that weren't in laptops or desktops in a box in Paul Flores' closet. So that wasn't brought up in trial, right? Because it had nothing to do with Kristen's case.
That would have prejudiced the jury to make a decision on what they were charging him with at that time.
Right. People who know, though, right, were outraged, right, that these things were found, and that most of us understand the letter of the law, right? We understand that certain things can't be brought up in trial when a person is not being accused of those crimes.
Their decision on that one actual event that they're trying him for, and they could get a appeal based on that. Right. So the judge, before trial, they go through pre-trial hearings. They let them know, hey, we're not going to. This is off limits. It will not be brought up at trial.
Which is bullshit. They told me in trial, right? Judge told his attorney in trial, you can't bring up her not affiliation, her involvement, right, or contacts with motorcycle clubs. Well, the defense, he did it 4 times in a row, right? And judge kept telling him, this, you can't. In this particular case, because of where the trial was held, it worked in.
Probably told the jury, you're supposed to ignore that, and you cannot use that statement in making your decision.
Unfortunately, and God damn it. So the defense attorney was so dumb, they had it moved, right, to a different county, to Salinas County. They didn't realize, though, that 81 has a stronghold in Monterey County, rather, right, in Salinas City. They didn't realize that 81 has a stronghold. So while I'm on the stand, and he's accusing me, right, of and he's pulling up, text messages and whatever about, prospects watching, trying to keep me safe. He doesn't realize that there are at least 3 jury members, right, with Harley Davidson, with red and white Harley Davidson sweatshirts or T-shirts on. Right, so he tried to make it look like, I'm a piece of shit, right, for which for having affiliation, if you will.
Oh yeah, they're
Right, with people,
will dig up everything they can do to make you look like a monster.
which is fine, right? Because I told detectives, which is all good. And that's one of the reasons that I had, right from the get-go, I was honest with Detective Cole. Right, until, I know this stuff's going to come up. Right, you're telling me I'm your key witness. These things will come up. Right, so here's, I was honest about everything I could be without implicating other people.
Yeah,
Right, specifically implicating other people.
Kat, did they file a motion for discovery on your cell or computers on any of your?
They did. Yep. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So when I was on the stand, right, they're pulling up Facebook Messenger messages between me and someone who's watching out for me. Letting them know, thanks for the heads up. I called my buddy. He's had prospects at A, B, and C. So on the stand, well, what's a prospect? I don't know. I'm abroad. Well, but no, I'm abroad. I'm not involved with clubs. I'm abroad. I don't know nothing about nothing.
But I'm around that. I don't want to know nothing. Don't.
Well, and that's it, right?
In front of me about things that I could ever be accused of passing forward. I tell everybody that. Keep it to yourself. I don't want to hear it.
But I could say, I'm very aware of words matter, dude. Words carry weight. I say it all the time. I'm very aware, right, of the words, especially back then, that I used communicating about this. But it was what it was, right? I had zero when all this happened, right? When Paul told me that he had buried this broad under his ramp, I had zero communication, or I didn't have a bike then. I wasn't riding then. I wasn't living with my parents. I had no exposure to any motorcycle club.
Kid.
What's that?
When you were 17, you were a kid.
Right. But either way, I was a coward. Either way, I fucked up. At the end of the day, though,
I understand why you would have been scared absolutely to death.
well, here's the thing, right? You grew up around. I had the luxury of growing up around a group of gentlemen who they had a strong moral compass, right? Especially when it came to kids and veterans and old folks. So I was able to. I was not exposed. I was blessed enough to be privy, right, to the life lessons, right, that have to be taught when someone fucks with kids. Was the main thing, right, when I was small. And you don't want to. I had seen, man, dead eyes are a thing, you guys. When anyone who has seen a dead person, right, I don't care what religion you are, we have a spirit, we have a soul, there's energy behind our eyes. You can see a person's soul, so when you see dead eyes in a living person,
You realize the souls left that
man,
office.
it's, yeah, to see dead eyes in a living person is, I don't want to say terrifying, it's more than terrifying. It's
It makes
I
you
don't
realize-
have the vocabulary for it. But anyone who has seen it gets what I mean. Anyone who's seen it understands what I mean. And that's what this kid had. Right, Paul. He had dead eyes. It was funny though, in the trial, his defense attorney says, well, don't you know people that have killed people? Right, talking about clubs. Well, I said, wait a minute. I'm here because two seats to your right, I met someone who killed someone. So, yes. Well, objection. Right, he didn't want and judge had to tell him. You asked the question. Right, you asked the question, she gave an answer. It stands.
Yeah, a lot
But
of times,
that had my answer. Yeah, I'm here. Yes, I know people who have killed people, and that's why I'm here, because your client killed somebody, and that's why I'm here. So he fucked himself by asking me that question.
right.
Yes, CB, it does stick with you, and we're not meant to forget it.
Fair game in a trial.
Right. And like, there's no part of me.
Hey, you
Yeah.
brought it up. Now it's, and you know, you brought it into evidence. Now we're going to have to deal with it.
Right. Yeah, you're going, you know, it was a accusatory, question, right? Slash statement, right? He was on the path of motorcycle clubs, right? Well, forget about them. I do know someone who's murdered someone, and he's sitting 2 seats to your right, and that's why I'm here.
I know plenty of people that killed someone.
But what happens, right? We all know someone who's done something, right? Those of us who were blessed enough to learn about life, and appreciate how precious life is, and how to act, right? With that silent, again, it all goes back. I spoke on it earlier, right? About writing. There's an unspoken level of respect. There's an unspoken standard procedure that we all should operate by. And it's not something that everybody, I don't want to say is taught, but it's certainly something that not everybody is exposed to, right? It's something that not everybody has the blessing of experiencing or learning about, right, from a young age.
Comes from our main male role model growing up, who should be the father, but not always is, and the main motherly role model that we grow up under. That, you know, that's where we learn.
Agreed. And 81, right, Hell's Angels taught me what an old lady is. Right, I've known my role
Either.
since childhood because of those gentlemen. And that's what they were, right? So, literally, one of them was a doctor at a hospital. I mean, these are regular people in motorcycle clubs, right? And they think, or especially when they hear outlaw, they think, right, tattoos on the faces and rigs in their arms, right, and a lifetime in prison. And that is not the majority of brotherhoods. It's just not.
Yeah,
Most
I
of
had
these gentlemen
a friend that would go fishing with me, Dago, and he was here in local Winston, and he would ask me when we would go down to my uncle's house. He said, "No, man, I'll take my colors off if you don't." I said, "Hell no!" I said, "Fuck that!" I said, "You don't know who my uncles are."
right?
But
I
he
just
was fishing, and I hadn't seen him in a long time. Last I heard, he had a stroke, and I really don't know whether he's alive now or not. It's been a long time.
But he was one of the originals, right? It's not the same. It's not the same now as it was even when I was growing up. Right? It's abroad. But I'll say this: they taught me what it is to be an old lady. They taught me what my role is. Right, not just as an old lady, but as a broad. Right? I know when to speak. I know when to react when I'm spoken to.
Yeah.
And again, I can only talk like this because I'm single right now, right? Because I'm not an old lady right now. Otherwise, right, it'd be my old man speaking. I know my role,
But that's
and that's a
what
lesson.
bicycle, though.
That's what.
But that you're not in the club for a club no more, no.
No, and I've never been. I've never been with a club or I'm abroad.
I know you're not getting what I'm saying.
My loyalties lie where they lie, though, right?
Right.
I know who taught me my most valuable life lessons, and it's not right generationally. It's not the same.
You needed structure when they came around, is what I'm
Totally,
saying.
and I got it. And I grew up, dude. My mom had a daycare in my house. Right, my dad had his own company building custom kitchens. There was a 6 to 12 month waiting list for him in Montecito, California. People like Oprah, right, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. People living in these castles in Montecito, California. They were waiting for my dad. What's that?
People that build $500,000 kitchens.
Right, that was my
Right.
pop.
I mean,
Right,
literally.
like they weren't educated. Right, they were both blue collar.
That's
Um,
awesome.
But Dad, he was a Vietnam vet, and he understood what brotherhood was. And when he came home and got spit on, literally spit on, he understood even better what brothers were, right? What a brotherhood meant. And he found his place where he belonged.
What do you mean
Right.
spit on?
And I was lucky enough that he exposed me. Obviously, not to all of it, right? I was a kid. But kids listen to everything, right?
Yeah.
Kids hear everything, even when we think that they're not listening.
Hey,
Yeah.
let me tell you, kids are monkey see, monkey do when we grow up.
Yes.
And what we see is what we're likely to repeat.
And I've lived like that. You're 1,000% right. And I live like that. I've lived by.
Not always. Some kids go through poverty and they actually, as they get older and they start making money, I will never be like that again. And they literally become unbelievably successful and financially on the opposite side of that because they're so imprinted. I am not going to live the way I grew up.
Yep.
See, and that's how Anna and I are with our mothers, right? We are good moms because we know what not to do, right?
Yep.
I was blessed enough to take the lessons I learned, right, as a child, right, 2, 3, 5 years old through, I think Ventura chapter dissolved in late 80s, early 90s, right? So I was an early teenager.
Yeah.
I carry those life lessons every day of my life with me. And there's nothing
My
else.
grandma told me when I was little, if I'd done something wrong, she would tell me and my cousin Daniel, who eventually got run over on a mini bike accident, but killed. But she would tell us to go out and cut a hickory switch in the back of the house, and we'd be crying and go out there and get one. But she never would hit us with it. But by the time we got back and we cried and boo-hooed and carried on, we knew we had done wrong, and that was the lesson that had been learned. She never got that switch and hit us, but she'd make us go cut a hickory switch.
Okay, that's how my pops was, right? My dad never laid a hand. I had a sister and a brother.
Back thinking you're gonna get you hit with a hickory switch.
The bark was worse than the bite.
Oh yeah, she never hit us.
Right. That's how my pops was. Right. His knowing that I had disappointed him
Exactly.
enough to even bark at me or that was worse than any whooping I ever could have got. And my dad never laid a hand on any of us.
It is,
You
though.
felt awful. The shame was all it took.
Right.
Disappointment.
But again, that's a lesson I never would have learned without 81. Right. That life lesson, right? To be humble and to realize that sometimes a bark, if you're afraid of the bark, imagine the bite. Forget about it.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
What happened to Andrew?
Now, little kids got to learn no. That's that simple. As parents, when you say no, they have to understand whatever it's about. That no means no.
Right.
And you got to love them to death. You don't get them to understand no unless they trust you and love you, and you love them back, and they feel safe around you.
There's something to be said about putting the fear of God. Kids don't understand the difference between fear and respect until they're older, right? There's a fine line. I hear parents say all the time, but even in the market, my kid's going to respect me. No, bitch, they're afraid of you. They're not going to understand respect right until they're 7, 8, 10 years old.
I'm gonna tell you something.
They can't understand the concept. Fear and respect is a fine line when it comes to childhood development.
When I'm around women, say I'm walking down the sidewalk and there's another one walking down another sidewalk and it's late, maybe I'm in a dark place or whatever. I actually stop and back up so they will understand I'm no danger. I'm not, because women can be in a situation where they get a little, because there's a lot of
normal, though.
it's something I do. I don't know. I was raised.
Goodbye.
Don't
Right
want anybody to think.
And I love that.
That's what it's for.
That's a primal thing that I think a lot of broads, especially nowadays, don't have or refuse to accept. We are not fucking equal. We are not. We're not. I cannot carry 2 boards of drywall over my head. You can. Right. If I'm in combat, I'm not going to be in combat because I have no business being in combat. Right. We act on emotion, we react on emotion. Men, we're just not equal. We're just not. I feel like it's a primal thing when you back up from a broad, right? Even if she's a hooker, right? And she's looking for someone to approach her. You backing up 1,000% gives her that primal level of safe.
At Walmart, parked way away from the building at 11 o'clock at night, and I'm walking and somebody's coming, a lady's coming in their car. I just don't want any female to feel anything but love and safe, and I'm not the guy here that might hurt you.
Right.
Be over here. I'm not going to walk up on you real fast and whatever. I'm going to give you a little relaxation and comfort knowing that I'm not, because, I think, I can't imagine what it'd feel like being.
Well, again, it's like that's primal, right?
That have been essayed, and the
But we know our roles. We know
we haven't had it.
there is no broad on the planet that's ever going to convince me that we can fight a man and win, right? Or that we can take a man's beating, or that we can square up, or behave in a testosterone-driven manner and win. We just cannot. I don't care if a broad is 300 pounds, right, up against a 120-pound dude. Our muscle structure is built different.
We're designed differently.
We are. Your muscle structure, you are meant to have different strong points in your muscular skeleton than I am.
Yeah. But
Period.
Women are what makes this world great, and the qualities they have and the things they're blessed with that men aren't, and it's just the flip of this. It's what makes.
But it goes the same for men, right? We both have roles.
Successful man, and I will guarantee you he's had a good wife behind him, and not some crazy ass screaming, never satisfied.
Right. Those are the ones who think they're equal.
Worked.
Right? Those are the ones who think that they are equal. And I don't care what no one says. Sometimes we have to be hit. That's all there is. I don't care what no one fucking says. And I understand that the majority of men will say all day long, I have never, I would never. What that says to me is that you've never tried to walk out of a room and had a crazy bitch block you from leaving.
Yeah.
You've never been locked in a room with some crazy broad holding a gun to your head, or a baseball bat taken to your knees, or throwing shit at your. There's only so much, especially men, right, can take, and broads who think that they are equal. Sometimes we need to be taught that we are not equal, and a black guy. Sometimes I'm just going to say it. A black guy or a cracked rib. It's a good lesson sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm just
and there are a lot of situations where women get so irate and they come physically at a man, and
that's what I'm saying. That's my point.
I'll put my hands across and I may say, hey, that's enough now. I'm not going to ever hit a woman, but I will grab one and move her backwards away from me and tell her that's enough. God damn it. I mean it.
And here's the thing even with that. Okay. Again, it all goes back to the way we're created. We don't have as much iron. We don't process, our bodies do not process as much iron as men do. Right. So we bruise easier. Right. So I can be if you and I are cohabitating, right, and we get in a fight, and I'm attacking you, and I'm hitting you, and I'm throwing shit at you, and you grab my arms, just to stop me from hitting you, I'm going. By the time the law gets there, let's say a neighbor calls the law. By the time the law shows up, because I don't have the same, I have less iron in my body than you do. My bruises are going to show up long before yours do.
I've known a friend had a wife that they get in fight. She used to hit herself when they called 911, so she'd have a mark, and she did it about twice and got him locked up on a couple 24
Do you see what I'm saying?
Do not ever bring her to my house ever again under any circumstances, and I mean that.
And it all goes back to me to we are fucking miracles.
I stood at the door. I said, "You ain't coming in here. He's here, but you need to leave, or I will have the whatever means necessary to get you to leave."
Right. This all goes back to me though, right? That we are not accidents. right? Broads are men. We are built different than men. Be it with our skeleton, be it our muscular structure, be it our the hormones. Ovaries make us batshit crazy. I don't care what no one says. They just do. But when it comes to like DV situations, our bodies do not absorb iron, and a lack of iron is what makes us bruise, right? I can bruise if I grab my own arm right now,
and I put my arm up and blocked it, you would have a bruise where you contacted me with your hand or arm.
Yep, within 1 hour, and by then the law is there.
Get my ass locked up.
Right, within 1 hour the law is there. I have a bruise, and you have nothing, so you hit me.
Times it's both parties' responsibility to get the fuck away from each other, because the next time it happens, it ain't gonna be one of you that's gonna get blamed. It's gonna be both of you, because the one that's getting the shit end of the stick at the same time. You ought to understand this is happening. It's repeated itself. If this is what's going on, I'm not a dumbass. The best prediction of future behavior is past. I have to leave this situation whether I like it or not. And if I don't, I'm responsible for the next fight, because it's going to come.
But generally, it's us, right, that won't let our dudes leave. Right, Anna? Where'd my sister go?
She got up and left. I told you she's a ball of nervous energy. That's why I love her.
Oh. Generally, it's broads. They're going to stand in front of a doorway, right, because the dude wants to bail and diffuse the situation, right, and get away from the crazy broad. And we are the ones who are going to stop the man from leaving. The majority of the time.
I've had men friends that were jealous as hell, just the stupidest individuals ever, and they were violent with her. And I told everyone, I said, dude, you need to get the fuck away from women, and if you can't have a relationship, you can't control yourself no better than that. You need to work on something.
I'll say this: my picker is busted, right? My what I think an alpha male, well, not what I think, what I know an alpha male is alpha is on steroids, so to speak, right? And I'm a middle-aged Italian broad now, right? My idea, when I'm right, I am right, and I don't care if I'm wrong. I'm going to argue that I'm right, even if I know I'm wrong, just to make you concede that I'm right. It's dumb, and I get it. I've had my ass handed to me to the point of broken jaws and collarbones, 10 cracked ribs. And I'll say this though, 9 out of the 11 times I deserved it. But there were only 2 times where I really had my ass handed to me that I didn't deserve it. Only twice. And those are lessons that I could have only learned from getting my ass whooped.
Not necessarily between a man and woman, but anything confrontational. He said, well, was there any alcohol involved? He would always say, he wasn't against me drinking beer, and I don't drink now, but and never had a problem with it. But he would say, you know what? I used to love to drink, Mike, but he said, you got to realize there's stuff that comes with it, and shit sideways sometimes.
Yep. So I can drink whiskey. Yeah. And I can drink whiskey all day long. All day long. If I get onto any kind of clear liquor, like rum I can handle, but like if I was to drink tequila, right, or a vodka, forget about it. I'm going to be a nasty fucking bit. I'm going to be nasty. But I have the wherewithal, right, and the self-reflection to recognize, stay away from it, right, because you're going to turn to a cunt.
One person drinks, and I never get ugly. It doesn't make me mean. I'm the same person. The next person can drink. I've had friends that did it, and they turn into a different human being. They're ugly. They're mean. They're not fun to be around, and it's just not pretty.
Well, and that's up to us, right, to be able to self-reflect and recognize what we can handle and what we cannot, right? I've got buddies that can only have, 2 or 3 shots of whiskey, right, where I used to be able to finish a 5th in a day.
My uncle went to federal prison for white liquor. Our family made it back in the day.
I love the clear.
I used to I gotta get some for chest congestion and colds. To do a shot before you go to bed and
Right.
it
Dude.
work.
Yeah, hot toddies to me, when I was small, I legit thought till I was probably 12 years old that a hot toddy was a tablespoon of whiskey. Right, and I grew up on Dago, right, and we were making our own wine, my family. We would have shot glasses, right, we would drink 2 ounces, like of a Riesling, with breakfast. Right, I would come home from school, and dinner time, we would have 2 shot glasses, right, so 4 ounces, of a Merlot, right, or a cab,
Yeah.
a Dago Red, right? My kid right now, he thinks Hawaiian juice, like Hawaiian punch, he calls it Dago Red. But that's
My dad never drank, mom never drank, but we always had a quart jar of white liquor because of, like I said, family. And it was for medicinal purpose. And if we got a cold or a cough or croup, here, do this little thing. It was hot.
croup. What the hell is croup?
Next day, you'd be starting to get better.
What the hell is croup?
Croup, like chest congestion, you know, coughing up stuff out of you. You know what I mean? I call it the croup.
So like the coof is now, like what COVID is now. I call it the coof.
No, it's just more like when you hear your chest and
Rattling?
You know, it's like a bad cold, and then it goes down into your chest.
Croup, huh?
Croup.
Croup.
KR, it's not a word. It's just some, I guess it's a local something. But
I'm going to ask,
Hey,
I bet my hoe knows what it is. Because she's from CROUP. That's where I live with. She grew up in Tennessee. I bet she knows what it is.
I lived
I
in
may have to ask her.
I worked for the wealthiest man in Tennessee one time. His family bought the rights to bottle Coca-Cola in 1896.
Wow.
And they had a foundation. They gave away $50 million a year for the last 50 years.
Wow.
And they're still doing it.
I've got, somehow, on my bloodline, I had kin that worked for Jack Daniels. So I have and I was blessed enough to be able to ride when I lived in Nashville, blessed enough to ride to Lynchburg. But I've got one of the old, it's a fifth of whiskey, but it's not the shape of the bottle. It's like an old, what are they called? Carafe, almost. Right?
Yeah.
But I have the paperwork, like there's a rubber band around the neck of it, and Folgers coffee, and Jack Daniels. I think this thing's so Jack Daniels was established 1866. I think this was established, I think Folgers teamed up with them in 1880 something. And I still have the paper, the paper, it's a little booklet, right? With the original rubber band, black rubber band, that's around this carafe of a fifth of what used to have Jack Daniels whiskey in it. It's pretty rad.
Jack Daniels is in Lynchburg, I think.
Yeah.
And you talk about Nashville. The club I played golf at, we had the richest families from Nashville. Remembrance there. Bronson Ingram, George Gillette. I mean, these were billionaires.
Right.
But
I used to work for Gary Player Golf for a little while when I was small. For Gary Player Golf.
I used to play professional golf. Played in college at Wake Forest, and I don't play now because of my back, but I still follow. And I know for a long time I knew all the guys on tour. I played with them in college and when I was first professional, and tried to get my tour card. But I played golf all over the world.
Yeah, you've said that, and I love that. See, that's what I adore about you. Your life. I love learning through you from your life experience.
I'm the luckiest man on earth. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm glad that you had the family, the mom and the dad and the Lord, and the education. But your life experience is what I really enjoy learning from you.
I mean, we never wanted for nothing. We worked too, by God. I'm gonna tell you that.
See, and how lucky are most of us, right?
You got
Like,
to do it. They ain't gonna do it.
even those of us though who grew up with nothing, right? Like my parents both had their own businesses, right? But all the money went to the businesses, right? We never had extras. No, we had clothes for sure, and food. but never, we always bought from Goodwill, right, from secondhand stores, because any profits went back into businesses.
I go to Goodwill every chance I get. I love it.
My kid's favorite song is Macklemore. Oh, hell, what's the name of it? Macklemore, Thrift Store something by Macklemore. He freaking loves it.
I love thrift stores.
Dude, yeah, forget about it.
I mean, look at the guy who's got money. I love them.
You want to hear something wild? So, Dad was a combat medic, right, with the Army. And I still have his jacket, his Army jacket, and his Army blanket.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. But I went to a thrift store, so I got kicked out at 15. I was in a thrift store in Washington State when I was 16 years old, right? And Dad had sent me, they wouldn't take my worker's permit, right? They didn't believe my high school diploma because I was so young still. So the job I had applied for was calling my parents, right? And my dad confirmed. Anyway, so the thrift store trying to buy clothes, like a suit, right, for this new job. And I found an Army jacket, and the name Bear. I'm still in contact with him. Bear was his nickname, but whatever his legal name was, his patch on his jacket, my dad had served with him, right, just outside North Cambodia. Like they had bought Cambodian red weed. Anyone who's been in Vietnam knows about Cambodian red.
I heard about that.
Man, and then all these years later, right, probably 3 months after my dad passed, I get an email, and all it says in the subject line is Bear. And so I ended up sending all the years. My dad saw his name on the Army jacket that I bought from a thrift store 2 states away.
Hey,
Right.
is that not crazy?
Man, the universe works. Forget about it. That is the universe all day long. That's the universe all day long.
That's a great story.
Yeah, so I ended up sending after my dad passed. Luckily, so I never until Rick Soviet PS was going to come to the house. I had not cleared out my dad's room, right? And then I found out Rick needed a place. I was going to make my dad's room his studio for him. So when I was clearing out Dad's room, in the very end, right up against the wall of the closet, was Bear's Army jacket. So I ended up sending it back to him.
Whoa.
And have a video. I begged him, right? I sent a card in the box, right, with a jacket. Please, I don't know how tech savvy you are, but I would love to, maybe if your wife or who could take a video,
Yeah,
right? If you open this box, I would love to see your reaction.
that would have been a treasure to see that.
And I still have it. And this girl, the joy. I've never seen anything especially from a veteran, that had this man's joy and heartbreak, right? In the tears, forget about. It was
Think of all the things he did in that jacket during his.
exactly right. It was moving, things that I can't even comprehend, things that I could never even. Man.
The people he stood side by side and didn't know if he's going to get out of the damn woods and get back to the damn base with, on a.
Right. On acid, mind you, right? Because back then, the Army was using ampules, metal ampules of meth, of amphetamines, right? And
That's when you go out in the woods fighting with a damn weapon. Nothing about nothing. It wouldn't bother me to have a little meth because I'd want to be alert. I wouldn't want to be stupid, but.
right. Well, they were sending them that plus acid, though, right? Plus acid. So, right. So they're at camp, right, or at base, under attack, and all they're seeing is fireworks on acid. And plus after being up for 2 or 3 days,
I'm laughing.
off the ampules and meth.
I'm trying to envision that.
I don't know. When my dad found out that I had taken acid, what's that?
I said it was probably just the whole. I mean, war is just not natural to just want to kill.
No, because they were killing kids. They were kids killing kids.
It's
Has to go up and it goes all around and this type of a roof, so I don't have to see the windows and I get creeped out.
No, Everyone needs windows. No, look, listen, there's nothing at nighttime that isn't in the daytime.
Then I caught myself sleeping right there for a minute.
Because I want to.
Sorry, sis.
Look.
Riker's having man, use your parents. Riker's having this like weird,
Look, Mom.
What is it?
I want those, but a little tiny door, like a door with a.
no, there's nothing at night that isn't in the day.
Jeffro. Waffle House. Well, no.
What?
Waffle House. Oh.
He's scared of something now, evidently, I'm thinking.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Well,
recently.
you know what moms do, they make them unscared, safe, and
No, there's
do that.
all I can do is tell him, like, there's nothing in dark that isn't in the light. Like, there's,
Oh, I thought you was talking like a store, like something that is at nighttime. That's it. Oh, never mind. Oh,
no, he's asking for,
Like going to sleep, I hated the light going off, all of that stuff.
so the people I'm staying with, Hubby and Ho. So I hired Hubby, as my lead mechanic, my chief pilot in Vegas back in 2005 for 6 months. And his name's, well, whatever. Now I call him Hubby. For 6 months, Hubby said that he had a wife, that he had a stepson. There were no pictures though, right? Like in his office, on his desk. Anytime he got a phone call and said he was talking to them, he would go outside. The whole, myself included, the whole office, we thought that he had a whole imaginary family for 6 months. And finally one day, Hubby and I are outside smoking, outside the hangar, and he goes to hand me the phone and says, "Here, Vicky is her real name. Vicky wants to talk to you." I said, "Hello," and she says, "Hey, Ho. Girl, I don't know who the fuck you think you're talking to, but you got the wrong one." And she had never seen a picture of me. And so I passed the phone back to Hubby. And she asked for a picture. Hubby takes a picture of me. And at the time, I'm in a suit, right? Like a skirt suit. But without my jacket off, because it's the summertime in Vegas. And I've got sleeves. But when I was at work, you would never know that I had a single tattoo on me. So he sends her, and poor Ho was terrified. Like, she thought legit I was going to whoop her ass. So when you hear me say Ho, that's what we call each other. Ho. It's our term of endearment. WHOE. Anyway, Ho is a messenger. And so since we've been here, right, there's energy in the house that I'm gonna sound like I'm batshit crazy.
I know. Hey, we used to live in a gigantic house on the golf course at one time, and it had like 3 levels. And when you were downstairs, I promise you could watching TV. You could hear the front door open, somebody walk in and say something. Were you upstairs? You hear downstairs, and there's nothing like of a negative, fearful thing. But
right.
I mean, we all heard. Me and my mom all heard things during the years. I know I heard people come in the door and. You know, what it was, I don't know, but it...
Dude, Riker was 3 years old when his dad died, okay? And I had never said, like, no one even said the word dad around him, right? I called my dad Pops. Like, specifically, right? So that I wasn't introducing the premise, right? The idea of dad, right? Of fatherhood to my kid. So when Riker was 3 was when his dad passed. So Riker is like halfway leaned down. He's like leaned back right on my bed, and he's watching whatever on TV. And I get the phone call, that Mark's gone. Nor have I ever said Mark, and no one ever did. Right, trying to, right, just so we didn't implant anything about fatherhood, right, in Riker's head. I walked back into my bedroom. And I'm not crying, right? There was no indication, right, to my kid that anything was wrong. But he's staring up at the ceiling fan, but like past the ceiling fan, kind of at the corner of the wall.
Up in the
He's talking like he's, I'm good. I'm doing, like, he's talking about the toys that he plays with. And what are you doing? He says, I'm talking to my special angel, Mark.
Oh.
Forget about it. And Ho had, like, after Chris died, right? Ho had come to my house to help me get out of my funk, right? To try and pull me out of my funk. And this was before Mark, right? Actually, Mark came into the picture when Ho was there. Anyway, so Chris is the one that died. He was the fiance that died in our bed. And he knew he came back to my house to die. He knew he was going to fucking die. And there was no heads up. He didn't say one word about it. And we talked about a lot of things in those last, 6 days that we had never spoke on before, right? And at the time, he was writing with Vagos. So I knew something was up because he wasn't accepting film, like his film was off, even for the club. So I obviously knew something was up, but it wasn't my place to ask. I knew my role. So when Ho gets there, a few weeks after he died, she's saying things to me that he had said that I didn't share with her, that I'd never shared with any other human. Any other human. And that's how I found out that Ho is a messenger. And now I have it tattooed on my collarbone. So Chris said to me several times in the week before he died, I live for you, I'll die for you. So, and he was an Odinist. So now I have that tattooed in runes on my collarbone.
That's badass.
Again, can I ask how old Riker is?
7.
7.
Wow.
He's 7. So,
Be a rocket scientist.
like in this house, right? Because Ho's a messenger.
But just educate the hell out of that child.
I'm trying.
He can
I'm
be
trying.
anything he wants to be, and it will come with education.
And he'll be everything. See,
That part.
I'm not a fan, right, of parents telling kids you're special, right? You're no more special than the kid next to you, right?
We have a lot of average kids around, and it's okay.
Right.
We get all kinds, but they need to
Right.
do most with what they're given talent.
Well, and that's why I teach Riker. You can be anything you want to be. You can't. You cannot be everything, right? You're not going to be a fucking astronaut. You know what I mean? But whatever you want to be, whatever you work to be, you can be.
Yeah, whatever you want to be, though, and I tell this to kids, you got to look and find out who is that and what their resume did to get them to be that.
Right.
What
Don't take
they-
lessons from everybody.
What they had to accomplish. Don't let it be a pipe dream without some information. Learn, hey, I need to graduate here from this with a degree and
Right.
whatever. Then I need to go, if that's what you want to do, learn the journey to get there. Don't think you're going to learn it on your own. Find out somebody who's done it. Find out several people and how they got there. And
Right.
that's what you want to do. Plot your path.
Right. Use the blessing of other people's life experience is what I've taught him. Right. I will never promote him going to college, right, like to university. But he all day long will be in a trade school, right? Whether it's UTI to work on bikes or cars.
I wouldn't rule out college. I mean,
Or-
and I don't think it makes it any better, but I wouldn't rule it out. If he truly has a field of interest of whatever, then maybe. But if not,
But college now isn't what it was when you went.
colleges now are teaching the most liberal, nonsensical.
And that's why I will discourage it. Right. I don't want my kid going into debt for basket fucking weaving.
See, I was fortunate. I mean, my dad paid me a salary out of my company time I was 18, and I paid tuition, and I paid $18,000 a semester.
But it meant something.
It cost over $100,000 a year to go there now.
But it meant something, right? You were able to apply what you learned in college, and you were able to establish whether it was a career, right, or your gift, whether it was golf. You were able.
I also was knowing I had to get a degree, and I wanted to learn something.
But that's not it's not that way now.
No, it's where you
It's
go
just not
learn
that
all
way.
these new ridiculous ideas. Not all colleges are that way, though.
I disagree. To me, it's all a racket. They are all government funded, right? When students get government loans, right, federal government loans, to go to college. So the students have to pay back. And the backside, colleges are getting federal funds for based on those federal student loans. It's all a racket.
Which is a private university, and it's just different.
I just can't. Shit's gonna hit the fan, right? Call it the apocalypse, call it civil war, call it a revolution, call it whatever you want. Shit is going to hit the fan. This kid can grow weed right now from seed to harvest. Right, this kid can grow medicine, right, from seed to harvest. He can grow food, right? Colleges at 7 years old, okay? He can do his own wash. He can, if I stroked out right now, this kid could survive for 2 weeks, right? Without having to go to the market, or they're not teaching survival skills.
Survival. Yeah.
And in this socioeconomic environment, that's what matters. Right? No college degree matters right now. What matters is your capacity, your ability to survive, right? And to recognize what you can barter with.
Cigarette. What are you talking about? I didn't have a cigarette.
I just explained the barter system to Riker last week, right? Afterwards, he said to me, "Well, then why do dollars exist?" Right? Great fun question, and I can't answer that. I couldn't answer it. Like, he understands something. Everything is worth something.
I am
up. For me to be able to explain the barter system to a 7-year-old kid that he never would have gotten in public schools, and for him to understand enough to ask me what the purpose of the dollar is, forget about it. Like that to me is survival stuff.
Dago, my oldest boy has his doctorate in mathematics. He lives in Los Angeles, and he teaches at a charter school. This real rich executive with CBS retired. He had twin daughters, and he didn't like public schools. So he started a charter school. They have
brilliant
arts. You have to play an instrument, and it's just different. They have been so successful, and they don't cherry pick their students, but they're from the hood. They're from the Beverly Hills. They're all over the map.
But where do they get their?
With these
where do they get their funding?
California is doing a study on why these kids are doing better.
Okay, I have a girlfriend who lives in Oceanside, and she's like a sister to me, a bonus sister, right? Her child is 13 years old.
I had a cigarette in my mouth and falling asleep.
What school did he go to? Not Bradford. He went to.
Hold on. What's going on?
He went to some internationally known, presidents, right, have gone to this. It's a private school, but it's not based on religion, or it's damn it.
It's preparatory school.
Kind of, but they don't. But they never go. Anyway, the school that he goes to, okay, he didn't start learning basic math until 4th grade. But you know what he did learn? You know what classes he did have? Clown class, where they literally dressed up like clowns and learned how to entertain each other. He had a feelings class where they sat on mats, right, and did the whole the thing, and learned how to we're forced to meditate, if you will, if that's possible, at 5, 6, 7 years old.
Off here in a minute.
They paid $26,000 a semester for clown school. I don't know. And again, it's to each their own, right? And I've
had 2 kids. My oldest and youngest both scored 1,600 on the SAT in the 9th grade.
I don't know what that means.
You know how hard that is to do.
I have 2 just
score, and no seniors hardly ever get it. Maybe less than 1%. They did it in the 9th grade, both of them.
See, that's genes to me. That's a mixture of nature and nurture to me.
It is. It comes from
to me, that's recognizing your child's ability and nurturing, feeding that ability, and promoting it. Matt, I don't know. I was always really good. I never did well, in English. My dad never made me take home economics. Right. Yes, sis.
I'm getting off here. We're going to go on Discord. I don't know.
Oh, great idea.
Sleep and all this shit. I mean, I didn't have. Did I fall asleep with a cigarette?
And
I didn't have my screen up.
Me and Jen been talking to each other. Are you okay?
I'm good, but I mean, I don't understand because I've been.
So you fall asleep.
No, she's looking at something. She's confused about something. I'm not sure.
No, they're saying I'm fucking falling asleep and everything, and I'm like, it's
Okay,
like,
well, but you also have your dogs.
You got up, went in the kitchen, I think, or wherever you went.
yeah, I'm
but-
eating everything.
But you also have your dogs at your ankles. You also open up your mail in your lap, right?
Yeah.
You text, like you use your phone in your lap. I don't think people recognize that when you're looking down,
Bent over.
right? You're not falling out. You're looking at the dogs at your ankles, or you're opening mail, or you're texting something, or reading a text that you got. You're not falling out.
No, my dog is literally right here underneath.
I know. They always are. That's what I'm
Let's
saying.
go on the Discord because I ain't trying to have this shit. I don't know what to do.
I didn't even see that, sis. I'm so sorry. Let's go to Discord.
Yeah,
Yeah, we go to
I love
Discord.
you.
I'm gonna be a few minutes, but I'll see you girls there. And
yeah, I'm going
remember
there.
that
I just
link I give you in
that's what I'm
private
saying. I
chat.
love my Discord. I love my Discord, man. I
Yeah.
love you
Ruby, I adore you, sister.
All right.
I love you more than my next breath.
All right,
always.
Bye.
Love y'all.
Bye.
Be there.
I'll see you in a minute.
Okay, now you end it. Boom.